Sometimes when I look in the mirror while I'm in fursuit, I just feel so short. And I think I'm pretty average height for an AFAB person, so it's kind of weird. My girlfriend said it's because my head's bigger. Are you saying I have a fat head? She said I have a fat head in fursuit. Welcome to Tooncast, where Toon does a furry podcast. I am here providing you with some furry outlooks and a furry podcast. All right, so topic for today. Top card. Okay. Moose. Authority. No! Today, we're starting off with a oracle card pull because I like oracle cards from this oracle deck. It's called Power Animals. And we pulled the moose card. It's a moose. Hello, all you moose furries. And the moose card says authority. You know what is best for you. So, any of you furries out there who are questioning, where's my life going? What am I doing? Who should I trust? You know what's best for you, truthfully, deep down. But let's see what the book has to say. L-M-N. I missed it. L-M. Monkey. Moose. Moose. Moose and squirrel. Arf. Keep bapping that with my snoot. All right, so it says moose represents authority in this oracle deck. And it says, you know what's best for you. In spite of the pressures from others, your own conditioned fears, embedded shame, and advice from the best of friends, ultimately, it's up to you to make the choices you make. Realizing this fully not only gives you greater freedom and autonomy, but also places the responsibility square on your shoulders for those choices. Your karma has brought you to this place in your life, and it's time to trust your inner guidance above and beyond any other counsel you've gotten. It's your life, and you can do whatever you choose. It can still be beautiful to listen to others and seek help when you need it. However, no matter what suggestions or ideas you get, see if and how they resonate with you. Don't blindly trust anyone's input. Instead, use your intuition and intelligence to see what fits and what doesn't. There's no need to be obedient to anyone anymore. You're it. The only exception, and it's a major one, is to heed the voice of the Creator as it manifests in any number of ways inside and out of you. That is the ultimate voice of authority and will never steer you wrong. And the Creator is that gut feeling that speaks to you. The moose also represents a warrior. It represents self-esteem, balance, and fearlessness. You know what's best for you. So since this podcast is a furry podcast and I am using an animal oracle deck, it is to relate this advice to the furry fandom in general. If you decide to take something deeply personal to heart from the advice, please listen to your inner gut. It knows exactly what you need to hear, hence spoken by the card. And the moose of authority in terms of the furry fandom. It's very interesting where the fandom is right now in the year of 2023. It's the beginning. And it's very interesting if you've been in the fandom for more than 5 years or about 5 years to look back and see how much has transpired in the time of 2020 to 2023. The fandom has grown and transitioned very rapidly, if you think about it. That is also in tandem with general technology that has come out in the public sphere, like VR, social media, cell phones, smartphones, that kind of technology, face chats, instant messaging. The fandom has changed a lot. It's gone from a small group of anthropomorphic fans who had to create conventions in order to meet each other into forums. And with the expansion of technology, now it's just kind of blown up. 10 years ago, furry content creators were just coming out of the good woodwork, the good birdhouses, the quality wood, the oak and the willow, all those good woods. And they were bringing to light this fandom and the fact that we have needs, content needs, and that we exist, and there are a lot of us, and bringing people into the fandom. And it's been really interesting to see the growth in that. YouTube has been a huge provider of furry content. There are specific furries who have trailblazed content in the fandom, who are still in the good graces of the community, which is also an interesting thing to think about in the changing times and the transition of the fandom. But those folks really trailblazed content for us and made it possible for us to access each other, because we got to share the videos, we got to comment and find each other. And people really flocked to furry conventions when they realized their favorite furries were going to be there. And we all got to meet each other. So content creators have really brought people in the fandom together. And they seem to have become authorities in the community in the past 10 years. However, I would say in the past 5 years, things have changed. Maybe even just the past 3 years, things have changed quite a lot. Now, this is just my personal schnalfy opinion. To give a little backstory of where my perception has come from, I joined the fandom in 2017. My father was sick at the time, and I really needed an outlet for joy in my life, and I had always wanted to be a part of this community, and I took that opportunity to join my local fandom and create more joy in my life, and it was really successful. Obviously, I'm here, and I'm having a great time, and that's how I got here. I was here in 2017. Huge markers in history, like the biggest one recently is COVID-19 was such a huge marker in global history. So, of course, it affected our fandom. Obviously, that was in 2019, towards the end of it, I believe, where it started to rear its ugly head. And then it was 2020 in March when we all went into lockdown. So I have a vision of 2017 and then 2018 pre-COVID furry fandom. And pre-COVID furry fandom, to me, was a time where the fandom was maybe starting to transition a little bit because of social media, because of social media apps like, what was that furry one? Babe, do you know that app that people, that the kids are on? And they have, it was a little app. I know this is so vague. This is such a vague question. It's not a dating app. It's not Omegle. It's Furry Amiibo or Furry Amino. Got it. So, Furry Amino. Furry Amino was, and maybe still exists. I am not on it anymore. It still exists. My girlfriend is on it, but I am not. I lost my train of thought. Furry Amino, though, was really like reaching a height But apps were not as intuitive for what we call gray muzzles in the fandom, folks who are like 30 and over the age of 30. And the thing is, their access has actually been each other, people, because adult money to get to cons, adult transportation to get to cons, autonomy from being old enough to choose what we want to do and where we want to go whenever we want to, depending on work schedules and whatnot. But that definitely created a palpable divide. It's important to mention the age gap because Twitter has been a place where worlds have collided when it has come to age, and there have been some battles, some furry drama battles about age. Like, there was definitely one where some folks said that people over the age of 30 should no longer be in the fandom, which is a little bit unkind because furry is for everyone. And that's why people shouldn't say that folks under the age of 18 shouldn't be in the fandom. There's two sides of the coin. And really, if you're doing something that you enjoy and you are harming no one in the process, you know, what's the problem? The key point being harming no one in the process. Another important thing to mention ties back into content creation for furries and the authority in the moose card that we were looking at earlier. People definitely look to celebrities and popular furries or popufurs for the public opinion, what the public opinion should be. Truth be told, we're all people and we're all flawed, and not everyone is cut out to be a leader in the fandom. And there are some people who wear it really well. That's always a beautiful thing. Those folks know who they are. If you get a good tingle. A good tingle. I have debated a lot personally whether I should talk about specific furries in the fandom. There are so many that range over the nation, and it really feels like East Coast furries know East Coast furries better, and West Coast furries know West Coast furries better. Southwest furries know Southwest furries better. So what I can speak to as my perspective from 2017 to now 2023 in the furry fandom is the Southwest perspective. Things have changed a lot in Arizona in terms of furry authority, or I don't want to call it authority because no one can tell you what to do unless you give them permission, whether it's subconsciously or consciously. I'll say furry role models. Yeah, that's a good one. The furries that have been looked up to for the past 5 years, there have been, I'll just straight up say it. There have been a lot of influential furries who've lived in Arizona who've fallen from grace recently. And folks are hurt about disclosures that have happened, and rightfully so. A lot of people have gotten hurt in the process. It's really sad. And unfortunately, there's a void of that furry leadership, truthfully. We are all responsible for the choices that we make. You at home, me here, every day we go out and we do stuff. We go to the grocery store, we go to school, we go to work, we go and we do stuff, and we have tiny micro interactions with people in the world, and we don't think about it, but it really affects everyone. Even popufurs are really responsible for the kindness or unkindness that they have provided to the world. Have you ever gone to the grocery store and the cashier was just really cold to you and you felt like judged, or maybe you did something wrong and you thought about it walking home? Just me? Just a couple of you? Maybe. But if you think about it, it probably wasn't you that messed up their day. Their day was maybe messed up beforehand, or maybe they don't like their job and that affected you, because we have anxiety and we think about things, and sometimes the roles are really reversed, where maybe I am the angry cashier and I affected someone else's day and they went to their car and they were kind of bummed because I was rude to them. And we think that these are such insignificant interactions, but they're really not. My day was affected by their attitude and I was hurt. But same token, they were hurting from someone else's interaction with them, whether they're angry about where they work or something happened at home that really upset them. That created a ripple effect. It's really hard to walk away from painful things that happen to us in our day-to-day life because we dwell on it, and a lot of the time we don't get closure on that pain when we really need it. However, we need to learn how to give ourselves closure. And another thing to really remember is that those little interactions do affect other people, and they're not little. The way we talk to people when we're working on a team, it's really important. If you have a personality that is strong and you say things that are blunt sometimes, you do have to work on it. I have a personality where I can be blunt, and it has hurt my friends in the past. So I've had to take a look at myself. And when I hurt my friend, I have to tell myself that I need to do better and that I need to be better. If you're working on a team and you're a leader and your personality is also just abrasive, like you're blunt and people describe you as mean is your personality description, I guess. We got to know that hurts people. Are you really a fit leader if you are okay with being mean to everyone? If it bugs you that I said that, maybe it's something you need to think about a little bit more.
Woof. That got a little heavy. I think I need a break right now.
There are other little interactions that can really cause a ripple effect in people's lives. There is a movie that Daniel Radcliffe was in. Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter. He was in this movie. In this movie, Horns, Daniel Radcliffe plays a character in a small rural town where he is a suspect in a murder. And we don't really find out if he is truly the murderer until the end. It all has to do with 7 deadly sins. So how does this relate to daily interactions? One of the 7 deadly sins he interacted with was gluttony. He had a roommate or a friend who said to him, and this was the magic of the movie. The non-Harry Potter magic of the movie was that everyone that Daniel Radcliffe spoke to was affected by his words, and affected in the way that he was indifferent. So he was indifferent about what other folks were doing. So in the case of gluttony, there was a girl, she said that she really wanted to eat this piece of cake for breakfast, but she knew that she shouldn't. And he said, I don't know, eat the cake. And part of the magic was she started eating, and she ate and ate and ate, and she couldn't stop. And midway through the movie, wherever it was, we returned to her, and she's sickly fat. She is so large that it is unhealthy and it is horrible. She's like in a food coma, like literally, not the fun figuratively, but like literally she's very sick. And Daniel Radcliffe, that character, could argue, well, he didn't tell her that she should eat everything. However, he didn't take personal responsibility and say, don't eat too much. That is a simple thing that he could have said as, a friend or an acquaintance, just to be kind and offer some advice. So the magic of the movie was the fact that she was taken a hold by gluttony because of his indifference as a friend. So how that connects to what we're saying about the ripple effect is maybe don't take your crummy day out on a stranger because it could really significantly affect their life. Maybe. It seems like a lot of personal responsibility to put on ourselves. However, it's kind of not, because all you're investing your time in doing is just being nice and not being mean. And that's really not a large investment of time or energy. Just be polite. Just say thank you. Just you're welcome. Have a nice day. You too. And it doesn't take much, really, for that little ripple effect. So rolling this back into our moose card, our authority card, we can observe that Popufurs has changed with social media, right? So for a while, the people who created content were the only ones creating content. And now with Twitter, Furfinity, TikTok, more and more furries are creating content. This is good. This means that there's more content out there, more for us to choose from, and more opportunities to get better, good, valuable entertainment and information. And the fact that we have so many choices means that we really need to be observant and careful and hold ourselves responsible for the kind of content that we consume and the kind of content that we put out there. It's so easy to make a TikTok video or to make a Twitter post. It's even easier to make a Twitter post and just to put something out there that people will see and they'll get that ripple effect from you. I used to shout into the void on Twitter, and there came a day where the void started shouting back at me, and I was like, whoa, there are people who are paying attention to what I'm saying on Twitter. I should probably watch myself. And you don't have to have a fursuit for people to pay attention to you. So there's a lot of content, there's a lot of people out there who are saying what they feel. And not everything they say is correct. Not everything they say is factual. Not everything they say is justice or good or kind. So we all need to be very, very careful about what we're consuming and then what we're putting out there. We need to be responsible members of our fandom, because we want the fandom to continue. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of tired of hearing that the furry fandom is toxic, because I don't want to be in a toxic fandom. I'm not a toxic furry, and I don't want to be in a toxic fandom, but I love being a furry. So the solution here is let's monitor what we consume. And if it's good, if it sits right in our heart, in our gut, that sounds good to me, right? Do what you will, but harm no one in the process. If this content is harmful to someone that isn't you, you have to accept that this content is not top quality content. There's so much noise out there right now that it's important to filter things out, filter the yuck out. We don't want yuck in the fandom. That's kind of what has happened really recently with some of these Popufurs falling out of grace. The furry fandom has spoken and they said, no, we don't want toxicity, so away with you. And that's what they said. That's what you said. You don't want toxicity. So now we need to filter down, filter down, filter down. If you like someone's content and it hurts someone that's not you, we have to take responsibility for the fact that it is hurtful content, and you're not excluded from taking responsibility for that. Am I telling you to stop following? No. Am I telling you to stop listening? I'm not telling you that. I'm telling you that we need to know that these things are hurtful to other people and that we cannot repeat them because it's unkind. And that's not the kind of fandom we want. We want a good fandom. We want a kind fandom. We want a fandom that's just and lets everyone be a furry, right? So be responsible for the content that you consume. Some of you might be asking yourself, well, is my content that I'm consuming okay? Rule of thumb, do what you will, but harm no one in the process. That's it. It's very simple. It's simple, but maybe not easy. However, there's a lot of good content out there that is not related to politics. It's not related to after dark themes. There's a lot of great content out there that's fantastic. There's excellent furry content out there. I know several people who produce excellent furry content. It's fun, it's easy, it's really cute, and it makes you feel warm and fuzzy, and it makes you feel like fuzzy. You're a furry, and that's fantastic. There are only a few that we need to be wary of. I trust you guys to make the right decision. I know that you know what's best for you, just like the moose knows what's best for you. So now I'm going to pull a different card and see what kind of advice for the furry fandom we have. And it's the giraffe. It says foresight. You are able to see what is in store for your future. See, giraffe. You are able to see what's in store for your future. See, I didn't make that up. But that was kind of what we talked about, right? We know what's best. And you know deep down in your heart, in your guts, that what you're watching, what you're listening to, the people you're hanging out with, you know what's right and what's not right. So to kind of bring it back in, this podcast is really fresh. It's new. The intention is to pass along good information and to help people understand that we can make good choices and we can be happy, and we know how to do that within ourselves. We just need to shine the light on the darkest and most inner parts of ourselves that tell us who we are and what we want. And what I want to do is bring those things to light and help people become better versions of themselves and enjoy the fandom more. Let's set some boundaries together and figure ourselves out and be better furries together. And I've got a couple more podcasts that can really help us figure ourselves out and work with our strengths and our weaknesses and make sure that we're good people and have good friends in the fandom. Like attracts like. So if you're a good person, you will attract good people. And if you're a furry, you will attract furries. No problem. Let's do this together. Thank you for tuning into my podcast. Bye.